Spotify's Green Room is rebranding as Spotify Live, moving itself into the main app. I remember we talked about the Green Room for a while, a while back, and we had some thoughts on it. Didn't think it was going to be that successful because they were trying to copy, what was the Clubhouse, yeah. So do you think this rebranding is gonna work? It's gonna set it off?
No, I think that their focus is like in the wrong place. They're not, like I said, they're not innovating. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't touch their stock. I wouldn't, put my focus as an artist on this. I say this openly because I'll just remind you guys, we sell Spotify promotion. We sell a lot of it.
Yeah.
One of the people that sells arguably the most that we, of anybody out there.
Yeah.
But I also want to tell people what's like the best route for you to be doing right now. And the best route, if you can't get the social token, you need to at least have the NFTs going.
Yes.
Like that's what you need to do. I don't see enough artists doing this. Definitely the ones at scale who could do it. Like if you're getting at least, 50K streams a month, 100K streams, like you can sell, you're selling the royalties up front through the NFT.
Right.
And then you take the upfront capital. You can use that for marketing, not just on Spotify, like spread out your marketing among as many places as possible. Have your website, because you own the files on your website. You own the emails that are in your email list. Mm-hmm. So get all those together. And then when people own a part of your brand, they're far more invested in it.
Right.
You check it. The Bible talks about it as, where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. Yep. So it's not that where your heart is, your treasure. No, it's the other way around. Yeah. Where you put your money, then you're going to start checking it.
Yeah.
What that really means is before you bought any stock or, anything like that, you weren't really checking the stock market every day. Once you buy some, then you check it.
Yep.
So with your music holdings, don't just focus on one app.
Yeah.
Spotify having this extra feature was really just Clubhouse, and Clubhouse didn't really have any proprietary technology. It wasn't all that fancy. Right. It was just a new idea. So everybody just copied it. Twitter Spaces, Facebook has an option in there.
Yep.
Live audio rooms, they're okay to me, to be honest. Like They kind of seem like a drawn-out podcast to me because you got to get set up and all that, and it's not edited, and it's just like there's some fluff at the beginning. They can be okay, but I think they were kind of like hot whenever people were inside, and now that people like don't have to stay inside, well, in most states, I don't know what a couple of y'all are doing, but people don't have to do that anymore. You can go connect in real life. You want to get out of your house and go somewhere. And,
facts.
Why would that be your focus now? Why is that your rebrand? So their podcast push makes more sense than this to me. Like you could argue that this is an offshoot of podcasts. I kind of think it's a different space to be honest, because I'm a podcast listener. And I really don't listen to lives like that. And I don't think there's the data to back up that this was a sustained growth. I think that this was a bump up when there was a unique time in history. But now it doesn't look like sustained growth. Like podcasts have had sustained growth over time.
Yeah.
Because it's on-demand talk radio. This is more like sporadic talk radio than on-demand talk radio.
I can see that.
So that's the biggest difference between them. Like podcast listeners want to know, here's this subject, and this is usually the amount of time it takes, and it's not like a mindless drivel,
right?
Because you'd hear people talk about, they were on Clubhouse for 3 hours, 4 hours.
Anybody's got time for that?
Yeah, I'm not staying on there for 4 hours.
Right.
Podcast listeners are typically like, I want my content.
Right.
I want to know what this content is. I want it to be very efficient.
Yeah.
And that's that.
Right.
At least the business, business-minded entrepreneurship, crypto, like all that stuff, like that needs to be very focused, because usually like podcast listeners will be higher performing in a lot of areas, well, at least economic areas,
Yeah.
because of that mindset.
I was just about to say that, especially for like purpose-driven people,
Yeah.
goal-oriented people, like who is just. I mean, I see it as almost like somebody just wanting to jump in like onto a three-way call and just listening to the conversation and not really having any type of like who has time for that, man.
No.
It's just I don't get that.
No, yeah. So it's, I mean, they you guys already know where I tell you they should be focusing.
Yeah.
The very least, like you see people popping up with every platform has their NFT marketplace now. Like they didn't even do that, and they're in the music space.
Right.
There's really no need for Roll.io. Like
Yeah.
they, and somebody probably will just snuff out their business plan.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing, like I said, there's nothing proprietary about it. But
Yeah.
they should have been on that.
Yeah.
Like this is not that hard to do. An NFT marketplace is not that hard to put up. Like
Yeah.
the tokens, as I've said, are harder to put up, social tokens, but the NFT marketplace is not.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, we'll see. Like I said, I wouldn't touch Spotify stock.
Yeah.
If that's your primary place for music, I mean, you should be okay, but you definitely need to have all these other things in your wheelhouse that are producing you revenue versus just trying to depend
Facts.
on Spotify streaming royalties.
That's real. That's real.